Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bastion YGO here, and today I'm coming at you with, I'm very excited for today, guys. I'm very excited. I'm coming at you guys with our true Draco deck profile for the December 2022 ban list. Now the year is almost over, but Christmas came a little bit early for true Draco, giving us some fantastic, not necessarily support for true Draco, but low-key support for true Draco, and giving us back to the best floodgates in the game to 3 Defissure and Macro Cosmos. So not only does this make this deck that much more viable, but they are continuous spells, which means they have, and traps I should say, continuous spells and traps give the deck that much more synergy to go ahead and play. You can also play cards like Metaverse, things like that to search Necro Valley, but we're not going that route. We're going straight hardcore backbone true Draco as it should be, guys. So if you guys do enjoy these types of more weird wacky deck profiles, everything, let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a like, make sure to not only subscribe but hit that notification bell as well. I completely forgot to mention that in all my videos, so hit that notification bell to stay tuned for a lot more videos coming up. We have Light Twin coming up, we have Trickstar Runic coming up, we have so many deck profiles coming up, so many discussions. So if you guys go ahead and make sure to be a part of it, subscribe, and let's get right into the deck profile. Alright guys, so here you have the full deck list for the true Draco deck. Now for those of you guys who just want to go ahead and screenshot this and keep moving forward, by all means feel free to do so, but I'm going to go ahead and give my quick explanation as to why I'm so excited for this deck coming up in the future, and for this upcoming meta as well. I'm very tempted to take this to locals. Am I going to do that? I don't know, still decided. I'm still really liking Fluandries right now. Don't hate me, don't unsubscribe, please. I'm a new bird player. I'm picking up deck for the first time. I just want to try it out. I mean, it's one of the best decks of the format. Come on, can you believe me? And you don't really have to think, just summon Robina. So if it's up my alley, similar to how true Draco is very similar as well, but true Draco is actually a little bit more interesting because you have to know your sequencing a little bit more. Well, I guess in that case it is very similar to Fluandria, and you get what I mean. It's not the most difficult deck to go ahead and pick up and play. So guys, we're going to be starting off with the monsters. We have 3 copies of Dynamite Knight, the true Draco fighter. Dynamite Knight is by far the best true Draco, only because it searches out your true Draco traps instead of your true Draco spells, which is super clutch because the traps helps us get rid of monsters. When Mystic Mine was around, of course, having the Ignis Heat was also really important because we need to get rid of the mine, but right now we're really focusing on a lot less, and really the floodgates that you do want to pop, we play them as well, so we can easily go ahead and play around them also. So 3 Dynamite Knight, 2 Ignis Heat to go ahead and search out your spells, and 1 Majesty Maiden. This, I'm pretty sure, used to be the ratio way back in the day when the deck first came out. It was D6 or maybe 1 Ignis Heat, and then you play 2 to 3 of the Masterpiece, but unfortunately Masterpiece is still banned. So Konami, give me back some Masterpiece so I can make this deck the best deck of the format by far. It'll be the best deck of the format, easy. So anyway guys, we played these true Dracos. True Draco Dynamite Knight searches traps, Ignis Heat searches spells, Majesty Maiden searches monsters, so you really know which one to search to maximize your value no matter what you have. Inspector Border is one of the 2 other monsters that go with this deck beautifully. So Inspector Border, if you guys have never read this card, first of all, it's kind of confusing when you first read it, but essentially if your opponent does not have an extra monster, they essentially don't have effects. So this going first is nuts. Going second, I do have another card in the side deck, which you might already see right here. That is actually fantastic. But you guys have not seen this card right here, I'll go ahead and explain that in just a little bit. But this fantastic going first as well. Just this alone can win you a lot of games. Being able to be backed up with a true Draco support is just absolutely ridiculous. Even if stuff gets into the graveyard by a card effect, you do have cards like Macro Cosmos you can side in going first, and that way you're also able to just banish everything right off the bat. Also, we do play cards like Defissure or everything like that. So that's gonna be it for the monsters, guys. True Draco has never been a deck that plays a lot of monsters. I feel like playing cards like the Bestial cards would kind of not help the consistency of the deck, which is already kind of the struggle, being that Diagram is at 1, and that perfectly segues into the spells. So you have 1 copy of Diagram, no need for the Terraforming because there's no way for us to, it really brings no value. So if you have the Diagram, then you just have a dead card in your deck. At least that's my thought process. So 1 Diagram, fantastic card. Basically, you can destroy a card you control or in your hand, and if you do, add a true Draco, true King card from your deck to your hand. So it's absolutely fantastic, used very well in dinosaur decks as well. So you can go ahead and search your true King Lithosygym to pop your babies, and as long as both are Earth, you get to go ahead and rip a card from your opponent's extra deck. So really fantastic if you guys want more tech for your dinosaur strategy, but really good, of course, in true Draco. Next, for the 6 copies of the True Draco spells, we have 3 copies of Heritage, 3 copies of Disciples. Heritage lets you draw for the amount of times that you are able to pop a True Draco card of a different suit. So that means you pop 1 trap, 1 spell, and 1 monster in that turn, you get to draw 3 cards. And so on and so forth. So that is something to keep in mind, as fantastic consistency to the deck if you're able to maximize on the value of that card. But of course, all the True Draco spells let you tribute themselves essentially, or grant you an additional normal summon, tribute summon during your turn. The traps let you tribute summon during your opponent's turn, so it does have that synergy as well, where you have to go one or the other, interrupt your opponent during your turn or their turn as well. And then obviously the spells, when they are sent to the graveyard, you get to destroy, if they're sent to the graveyard, you get to target 1 spell trap on the field, destroy it. And the traps, when they're sent to the graveyard, they get to target a monster in the field and destroy it. So both are really, really good to go ahead and maximize the full playing field. Next, we have 3 copies of Prosperity, 3 copies of Duality. For the consistency, of course, we don't play any other cards. This is a deck that used to play Into the Void. I think it's called Into the Void. Demise, Card of Demise. I'm forgetting all the cards now. My goodness, Upstart Goblin. Way back in the day, used to play all those cards, but now we have evolved in our consistency game to make sure that we're able to maximize on these as well. And to wrap it off with the spells, play 3 copies of D-Fissure. D-Fissure is just by far the best of the 2 floodgates, whether it's between D-Fissure and Macrocosmos, only because this is really good going first or second. If you're going first, you activate it, that way it shuts off a lot of hand traps in the current game that say discard to the graveyard. So that is really important to keep in mind. Also, if you're in the event that your opponent wants to activate their Kelbeck, which lets you, I believe, mill during your opponent's turn, or Havness, any monster they mill is immediately going to get banished, so you have that going for yourself as well. No, Kelbeck really bounces something back. I'm getting the mix. They all sound the same. You know which one I mean. So that's going to be it for the spells, guys. 16 spells. Now on to the traps. We have played 3 copies of True King's Return, which is basically a quick effect Monster Reborn for the deck. So crazy to even think about. Yeah, Monster Reborns them, and it doesn't in defense position. Yeah, okay, defense position, yeah. But still really, really good to go ahead and have as well. Then 3 copies of True Draco Apocalypse. You can actually activate this during the damage step to destroy another True Draco True King card and half the attacks of all face-up monster your opponent controls. So what you can do is you can actually pop another spell trap of the True Draco or True Kings, and then your opponent won't be able to redirect them because you're in the damage step. And all monsters are still, same number of monsters still in the field, because they cannot respond, then they just crash into your monster. They take all the damage and they take a L on that monster as well. So True Draco Apocalypse is actually just ridiculous. 3 copies of Soul Drain. Soul Drain is one of the best cards that this deck can definitely play. So by activating 1,000 life points, monsters that are banished as well as monsters in the graveyard cannot activate their effect. They just cannot activate. They do not activate. So it immediately destroys any type of tier limit strategy as well. Right off the bat. So if you win the dice roll, draw this, you win, and that's game over from there. 3 skill drain. Again, really, really good card. This counters a lot of Fluandry strategies, Sprite strategies as well. Doesn't do too much against the tier element because they mainly activates everything in the graveyard, but that's where you got Soul Drain, so you're good to go, covering all bases. And then to round out the deck, we play 3 copies of Rivalry of the Warlords, where each player can control 1 type of monster. So this counters a lot of strategies, except I think Fluandries. Because Fluandries are all winged beasts, so that's the only thing that you're not going to really gain any value off this card. But that's perfectly fine. That's why you play cards like There Can Be Only One. You know, so you can control 1 monster of each type, so that way Fluandries is screwed, essentially. So this main deck covers each and every single one of the bases. It counters not only the best deck of the format, it counters the 2nd best deck of the format, it counters the 3rd best deck of the format. Easily, and without even breaking a sweat, without even going too far out of its mold. That's why I think True Draco has a lot of potential to be one of the better rogue decks in this upcoming meta. The only thing holding it back is literally just the consistency, guys. So if you're able to find a way to make this deck even more consistent than this, let me know in the comment section down below and we can figure that out together. But let's go ahead and get into the extra deck, which is really not that important, but we do play Ultimate Slayer and Dogmatic Punishment. Dogmatic Punishment might actually turn into an Imperm. I'm still deciding on which one I want to play. But we do play the Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, we play the Garura, Elder Entity Ints, Omega, 2 Ignister, 1 Totally Awesome, and 3 Fergie. Totally Awesome because you can just shuffle itself back and necessarily the only XCs you need if you're going to be using them for either of these effects, so that's really nice as well. Next, guys, on to our side deck. I don't really do side deck for these type of deck profiles, but for this one I think this is definitely necessary because we have to show the sauce. So Amano Iwado is the best spirit monster in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! That is legal at 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. Basically, if you're going second, you definitely put this guy in. This card reads, monsters cannot activate their effects except for spirit monsters. It is a spirit monster. You don't have to activate monster effects in this deck, and that's why we play Scale Drain. So you're good to go as far as that. You cannot even attempt to activate it, but you cannot activate it. It's absolutely just nuts. This is an immediate, like a Dark Ruler no more without the negative side effect. You just summon a monster, and then you use your additional normal summons to continue summoning out your big boys, and you set up your floodgates, and you're good to go from there. Absolutely love this card. Absolutely love this Amano Iwado. Next 3, Ultimate Slayer, still a decent card. Not the best, I want to say. It doesn't do that much, but it is still relevant. But I was considering potentially going to the Super Poly route, but I kind of preferred Ultimate Slayer a little bit more. So these are 2 cards that I think are questionable, but that do serve a good value regardless. If you want to play Imperm, Super Poly, Ultimate Slayer, Dogmatic Punishment, I don't think you can go wrong with any of those 4 choices. These are just the 2 that I chose. Next, you play 3 copies of There Can Be Only One, which I already explained, phenomenal card, and then 3 copies of Macrocosmos, which I'm super excited to finally see this card at 3. I didn't see this coming. I don't think anyone saw this coming, and now the prices of these cards really reflect it. I think the least expensive D-Phase you can find is like $8 to $10, and that's a common, beat up, all ugly. So that's definitely tells you what Konami's trying to do there. So not hit Ishizu tier limit, but also bump up the cards that counter Ishizu tier limit. So that's why I think this deck can really do that much better. Not only can of course cover the best deck of the formats, but with its overall power that it has, only normal summoning, does not rely on the extra deck, does not rely on special summoning, has really big monsters, and the field spell only makes them even bigger than that as well. And just being able to consistently pop cards in your opponent's field, I think that True Draco has a lot of potential to not only beat rogue decks, tier 2 decks, it has the potential to beat the meta decks of the format. This is very much a sleeper deck, guys, and do not be one of those who sleep on this deck. It already topped the regional, and that was before D-Fissure and Macrocosmos came to 3. So this is definitely a good deck to look into if you're a professional, if you are a budget player, if you are a brand new player. I would recommend at least giving True Draco a shot, as it definitely has a lot of potential in this upcoming meta. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Am I on hopium copium? Am I just a biased, firm believer that normal summoning is the best summon in Yu-Gi-Oh? Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. If you guys disagree, let me know as well. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy, guys. Make sure you subscribe, ding that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.